TRUEDEM project. The TRUEDEM project, which covers and study the trust in European democracies, has another webinar today. The topic of today is the perception of citizens of the European Union of the affordability of energy and on social trust and political trust. The presenter today, we are pleased to welcome Lea Nitzita. Lea Nitzita is a researcher in the Department of Economics and Management at the University of Catania in Sicily, in Italy. She's also affiliated with the Centro Euro Mediterraneo sui Cambiamenti Climatici, CMCC, where her work focuses on climate change impacts, on adaptation to climate change, and the evaluation of ecosystem services. She currently holds a Maria Sklodowska-Curie Global Research Fellowship, with her research being hosted at the Yale School of the Environment and CMCC in Catania. The projects examine climate risk in agriculture, the resilience of agroecosystems in Mediterranean climates, and the role of biodiversity in strengthening adaptation strategies in the current climate change. Lea, the floor is yours. Please give your talk. Thank you very much for coming.
Okay.
And go ahead.
Thank you, Christian, and also thank you for the invitation to present a topic that is important, very relevant to EU's current energy and climate agenda. So as EU is started the transition to a sustainable and more secure energy system, public participation and support became really critical for the success of the policy. There are three pillars recognized of energy policy, and they are the security of energy policy, its sustainability, and last but not least, affordability. So affordability is the topic, the focus of today's talk. Affordability has become more and more important as energy policy look for energy security. So in the last years, energy security has become an issue, but also the affordability of energy. So why is affordability important? Of course, energy costs can strain household budget, spread the risk of energy poverty. This can have an impact on social equality and economic stability, but also can really affect the public support to green transition. So, public perception has been shown to play an important role to policy legitimacy. When individuals perceive energy as unaffordable, they are less likely to support policies. And we have found in general a gap in the literature focusing on investigating factors that affect the perception of affordability. So our overarching question is whether social and political trust can actually play a role in, are actually linked to the perception of energy affordability. What is their role? So in the literature and previous literature, we find that mostly previous literature concentrate on social trust, showing that it contributes to build social capital, to enhance cooperation, and to spur pro-environmental behavior and energy-saving behavior. So overall, it can translate in lower emissions and lower energy demand. Political trust has been studied less than social trust, but in any case, the evidence show that it affects actually public support and acceptance of both energy and climate policies. In addition, a recent contribution by Panarello showed that disparity in trust level across European Union determine a different level of policy acceptance of energy transition. So, what is the value added of our contribution? Is the first study, as far as we know, that link trust to energy affordability in the EU. We also include, there is one of the few studies that includes both social and political trust. We also control for spatial variations in the preferences, and this is also something that has been rarely done. And in addition, we investigate the importance of social attitude risk, including also individual and household level characteristics. So our research hypothesis is that higher trust level, both social and political, correlate with lower energy affordability concerns. What is the what are the expected mechanisms? So for political trust, a possible mechanism is that trusts contribute to reduce the perception of financial vulnerability and reduce also the anxiety over energy costs. It can also create confidence in a fair policy implementation, and it can also bring the focus on long-term orientation rather than short-term orientation. As to social trust, can affect the perception of energy affordability, in that it increases pro-social orientation and collective problem solving. So we developed our econometric analysis using the European Social Survey Round 8, the European Social Survey of 2016. This survey has an extensive part on climate and energy, and this is the reason why we use it. Overall, the sample has more than 24,000 respondents, including European Union countries plus Norway. Our dependent variable is a question related to the energy affordability concern, is a 5-point Likert and ranging from not at all worried to extremely worried possible answer. The independent variable include the social trust, that is the trust in a respondent were asked to to pick one of the 10-point Likert scale from 0, no trust in people at all, to high trust. The same for a politician, from no trust in politician at all to high trust in politicians. Then, as told before, there are other controls that include the risk, attitude, social value, demographics, and spatial factors. The method. We apply the ordered logic model, and we have different specifications accounting for different grouping of countries. So according to different classifications, different criteria. So we created 4 classes for based on Eurovoc regions, so including countries from northern, central, and eastern, western, and southern European countries. Then we created 4 classes dividing the countries according to the level of their energy transition index. That is an index that relate to transition readiness. And we determined 4 classes for quartile. The same for energy equity index. We divided all countries in 4 groups, depending on the quartiles they belong for the energy equity index, and also the same for the energy consumption per capita. So the results of the order logic models are in odds ratio. We estimate how much trust or the other variables affect the odds of being worried about energy affordability. So as to trust effect, we found evidence that actually accept our hypothesis. So we couldn't reject the hypothesis that trust actually reduce affordability concerns. And this is true for both social and political trust, but especially for political trust. We found that the effect of political trust is actually stronger and highly significant across trust levels. So the baseline is no trust, so trust level equal to 0, and we find that with respect to no trust, any higher level of trust reduces strongly the odds of being concerned about affordability. So we go from minus 30% to minus 70% reduction in the odds of being concerned about affordability. Social trust has, in general, a milder effect in that it is significant only for trust level from 7 to 10, and also the impact is smaller. However, very high level of social trust reduce the odds of being concerned up to 47%. We also estimate, as anticipated, the impact of social attitude, and we found that they operate in the opposite direction with respect to trust. So for those that have preferences towards fairness, social equity, social protection, or communitarian values, they actually tend to be more concerned about energy affordability. Also, we found a connection between the feeling of being safe in the respondents' neighborhood to the feeling of energy insecurity. So this is another variable that actually increases the concern about affordability. Other issue we investigated and is whether the difference across countries related to their location or related to the degree of energy transition or the energy equity affect the odds of being concerned about affordability. And we found that Southern Europe, the odds of being concerned is dramatically higher with respect to other European regions. Also, those countries where the energy equity is the lowest, they are belonging to the first quartile, have a much higher odds of being concerned, and that countries that are they have started their transitions, their energy transition, but are still in the first phase of transition, are the more concerned about affordability. And this is likely linked to the cost of transition. While, for example, countries that have already a stable, mature system are not concerned. There is no difference between countries that have already in an advanced stage of transition with respect to those countries that have not started transition at all. Then we asked, does trust have a role in reducing the probability, the predicted probability of being extremely worried about affordability? And we investigated whether those countries that were the regions where affordability is really a concern, if trust can actually contribute to reduce this concern. And we actually found that political trust, so increasing political trust, can actually reduce this concern in Southern Europe, that we found have a very high concern about energy affordability, and also in those countries where energy equity is low. So there is an active role of trust, political trust in these countries to reduce the concern. Social trust also can play a role. However, we find that its impact is milder with respect to political trust. What are the policy implications? So, to build and maintain trust is critical because it can really reduce the concern about affordability and spur public support to energy policy. Also, it's important to address regional disparities, not to apply a one-fit-all policy, but to tailor policy according to different concern, accounting for the fact that different countries can have a different degree of concern. And also that to account that citizens that care about equity, about fairness, are also more concerned about the affordability of any policy. And so it's really important to target these citizens and maybe to increase the transparency in communication and address the problem of equity when implementing energy policy. So to conclude, trust is a critical enabler of energy transition acceptance. policy trust matters more than social trust for affordability perceptions. Also, regional context is crucial, as one-size-fits-all policies won't work, and it's important to account that citizens' concerned about affordability do not arise only by considering their personal costs, but also by their values. These results encourage and suggest transparency and engagement as essential policy tools. To conclude, the success of a European Green Deal depends not only on the technology and economic factors, but also on how politicians manage the policy implementation. Depends on the quality of the governance and also on the trust that the citizens have in their institutions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Leah. Thank you very much. Now we have a session with questions and statements. Are there any comments at this early stage? First of all, I'm very impressed that political trust is more important than social trust. This was very interesting for me that political trust is more important than trust horizontally with other people. My first question is there a difference between trust in national political institutions, regional and local, or we did not check the level of institutions? Is there a difference between say, the politicians in Sicily or the politicians in Rome?
If the level of the institution, I mean, we do not
Check this. No.
refer to
Region, yes.
a particular level. So it's a general trust in the politicians. So
thank you very much. So we have three statements. Who wants to begin? Xenia, Irina, Aneta? I think Aneta was the first.
Okay, if I may start. I have one question and one remark. Question would be, could you please elaborate a little bit this assumption that there might be the effect of social trust on perception of affordability of the energy? Like, what would be the expected link between this? And so this would be the question. And my comment, I'm from Slovakia, and in our case, in the case of my country, politicians basically use or politicize energy affordance and Green Deal as such. So basically, when you politically trust towards politicians, you would perceive this affordance as very critical, in negative terms. So it's just in opposite direction, like you would expect that political trust should help transformation, energy transformation. In my country, it's just the reverse. Like those politicians that are in power, they advocate like we need to stick to the original energy mix, and they would criticize Green Deal, and basically would criticize the Green Deal because of the affordance or from the affordance perspective. So it's just like I don't know if it's a unique case, but at least in my country, it's just the opposite. Thanks.
Thank you.
So now I didn't get, sorry, the second part related to the politicians in your country. What is the relation to the Green Deal and the trust?
Yeah. If I understood you properly, your conclusions were about that political trust is something that can basically help Green Deal to be, and it can help the energy transformation in concrete countries, and that it's beside other things, political trust is something that is helpful. So with increase of the political trust, you have also more support for Green Deal and for energy transition. And I just wanted to raise the point that, for example, it depends pretty much on your government and how the position towards the Green Deal and energy transformation is perceived by the government, because, for example, in our case, it's perceived negatively. It's something that it's a burden. It's not something that it's efficient for the country, and that's why.
Is the politician view?
Exactly.
Okay.
So once you trust to your government or trust to those politicians, you would see it very accordingly.
Now, the first question relates to social capital, and is that feeling that there is a goal, a common goal at a societal level, can make push individual to act cooperatively, because we know that energy issues very often are related, or environmental issue very often are related to acting cooperatively. So suffering a cost for the with the goal of maximizing social welfare, not only our own well-being. So, because sometimes individual cost is higher than our direct well-being, but is important to reach a social goal. So this is the same. The second question, I think there is not inconsistency between our results and how people feel with respect to if people share politician view. So our results related to political trust shows that if you trust politician and politician implement policy, energy policy can be costly, people are more willing to accept this policy because they trust politicians, so they share their view. And in your case, also, but it's in the opposite direction. So if politicians do not share do not agree with the green transition, public, also citizens, would agree with them, no? If they trust them, they will share the same vision. And of course, they will accept the cost of that vision.
Okay, thank you. The next speaker is Dr. Kisilova, the manager of the TRUEDEM project from Austria.
Thank you very much, Christian, and thank you very much, Leah, for the very interesting presentation. I have two questions. The first one, I was wondering, in your regression tables in the paper, you for both social and political trust, and these are 0 to 10 point scales in the European Social Survey dataset, you include them as dummy variables, with every answer category being included in the regression as a separate category.
Okay.
More often, these are treated as continuous variables, continuous predictors, especially in a cross-national dataset, because there is no guarantee that the distance between the numbers on the scale are interpreted equally by respondents in different countries. But perhaps there was some other reason why it was done like this, and I would be curious to know why you included them as dummy variables rather than continuous predictors.
Actually, I mean, our view is more accurate. So we did this only for social and political trust because they were our main variables, the main variable we were interested to. And I think it's more accurate, this way to formalize, because when you treat it as a continuous variable, as you were telling, you're actually assuming that there are the relationship is linear, and as you were telling, this cannot be the case. So actually, it's the point that you raised. It is the reason we made this choice, to avoid to assuming that the relationship was a linear one.
Thank you very much for the explanation. And the second question that I had concerns a little bit similar to what Annette was mentioning. So when your conclusion is that political trust is reducing the perceived costs or risks associated with energy affordability, are there any specific mechanisms that you think are in play here? So how exactly does it work? Is the public confident that the politicians will find a way to regulate the price, or are they more informed, or do they believe in the fairness of the political system in their country, or what is the rationale, the mechanism behind this influence between political trust and perceptions of energy affordability? Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, based on previous contributions, also theoretical contributions, very likely with trust, politicians extend to the trust that they will operate in the best interests. And so also extending the horizon from the short term to the long term. So even if there is any cost, any higher cost for energy policies today, I trust that there is a long-term goal of being better off. In fact, if we think about energy transitions, there are a lot of resources and also cost of this transition. However, this is linked to reach a better position in the future in terms also not only of environmental, of sustainability, but also in terms of energy security, for example. So it's just to be more willing to pay the cost, because we trust that this what is in place is for the best.
Thank you. The next speaker is Professor Irina Krusina. She is the National Director for Ukraine from Kharkiv University. Irina, please.
Dear Leah, thank you so much for your interesting presentation. I have one question. Probably you have studied this issue. Is there any difference between energy affordability concern among European regions? So some regions have lower or higher level, and if so, what is it like? How can it be explained? What is the reason for it? Or probably there are any countries that have like extremely specific level of energy credibility concerns. So what is this like, this regional aspect or territory specifics?
No, we found that there is this heterogeneity. So this was one thing we were interested into investigating. So these two arrive to sustain that, as I told, the conclusion is not one policy doesn't fit all. So you have to account that there are different conditions, and we know that in Europe there are different conditions across countries, but this paper shows that there is also a different perception of the issues as affordability, or linked to energy security. And so that policy should actually account for this, because the success of a policy depends also on the local conditions. So specifically, what determines our results, we have not investigated that. I mean, sometimes for some results is easy to the interpretation. So countries where energy equity is low, it's very likely that they are more concerned about affordability, because they perceive this. Also, southern countries, more than there is this widespread feeling that the energy is not affordable, and this is a result not only of our studies, but also we have checked. There are other surveys that actually show the same results. And for energy transitions also, we can provide an explanation of why countries that have started to invest, to devote resources to energy transition, may experience an increase of cost of energy, and this will translate also to consumers and increase their concern about affordability. So there is where, for example, the policy intervention should be stronger, because this means that it's necessary to really put in place policy that avoid that households pay more or have a higher cost from the transition.
Thank you so much for your answer.
Thank you. I have a question about political parties, party affiliations. In most European countries, you have a Green Party and voters, a Liberal Party and their voters, a Social Democratic Party and their voters, a Conservative Party and their voters, and a right-wing party and their voters. My question is there a difference between Green Party voters and others? Because the assumption is that Green Party voters, they want this green change, and that's why they might say, if it's more expensive, we accept it. Whereas other voters, for example, in Austria, the voters of the right-wing party, they are against green energy because they prefer traditional cars, they prefer fuels, and they are against the green change. My question to you is, did you look at these different party groups?
So I was just checking, because we also investigate the role of political orientation. And we found that those that lean towards the right tend to be less concerned about energy affordabilities than people that lean on the left wing. So why there is a widespread idea that is confirmed by empirical analysis, that right wing are less concerned about environment. We also confirm this. However, we must say that this fact is really small. So there is this difference, but it's not a huge difference.
Thank you very much. Did you find any differences by gender, age, and education?
So we found actually that no, for education, if I remember well, there was not any significant effect. But it was, for example, the concern is gender sensitive. So, and this actually is in line with previous results about being green. So usually women are more concerned about, for example, energy affordability. Also, health play a role. So people that are healthier are less concerned about energy affordability. So there are also some individual characteristics that affect this concern.
Thank you. What about generations? Are the young people more concerned about the green change and the older less, or there's no difference between?
Yeah. So I think that age also played a role. That's that older people are have higher level of concern with respect to younger. And it can be, I mean, we can easily agree on this, but again, we found that while we find that like really strong effect for example, political trust, age is significant, but is not so relevant.
I see.
So it's more linked, and it's interesting that the perception is more linked to the belief or the attitude, social attitude, rather than other individual characteristics like age. I mean, gender has a stronger effect, actually, with respect to.
And is there any difference between urban and rural areas, between Milano and Catania?
If there is any effect per se,
we
are the south.
People in Catania are more concerned than people in Milano.
I'm in Catania, so
Yeah,
I'm in the south of the south, the southern of the southern. So, and of course, we are also one of the poorest region in Italy. So I guess that we might have a higher concern that's the north, but I'm not really sure about this.
Yeah. Thank you. Are there any other questions, statements, comments from the audience? And your database was the European Social Survey?
Yes.
Great. And you compared also different parts of Europe, like Western Europe, Southern Europe, Eastern Europe, if there are different patterns, or did not compare the regions within Europe. Scandinavia, Southern Europe, Italy, Spain, Eastern Europe, post-communist. The difference between regions. You did not.
Yeah. We found that it's relevant. So, and this has not been actually included generally. So only a few studies account for spatial differences. So I think this can really open a new interest in the spatial differences and preferences.
So you have used the pooled pan-European data set, not Italy or France separately, put everything into one pot.
Yeah.
So that's very interesting. Okay, then if there are no other questions and comments, we can come to a close. You want, Leah, you want to say something in conclusion about your project? Do you have the plan to have more research in the future on this topic?
Yeah, I mean, this paper actually made us asking about what is the role of trust in determining the actual choice in terms of energy saving behavior. Because our results actually suggest that trusting a politician or social trust reduce this perception of cost. So we wonder, we want to try to explain what is, if trust can have actually a double role. So on one hand, it will, as shown in previous contribution, can affect the choice of people related to energy, so poor energy saving behavior, but this seems to contradict the impact on cost perception. So we are actually trying to explain this dilemma. So we have already started to develop a study that is almost not finished. It's still we are still developing it to try to explain this dilemma. How it's possible that trust can determine energy saving behavior and at the same time reduce the perception of cost, because we know that costs are the determinants also of the choice. So this is what we are actually investigating. So maybe next year we will discuss about the upcoming results.
That is a wonderful plan, and maybe we can have another webinar next year about this. In any case, thank you very much for taking the time to prepare this talk and to come to see us and to meet us. And your presentation and the whole webinar will be YouTube. You can admire yourself next week and tell all your friends and fans about this presentation.
Yeah.
And we are looking very much forward to hear more about your impressive research in the south of Italy. Thank you, Leah.
Okay, thank you very much. Bye. Bye.
And I thank all the members of the TRUEDEM consortium who came and asked very wonderful questions. Thank you all,
Thank
and
you.
take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.